Hello, everyone. As you watch my live broadcast today, the fourth plenary session has already concluded its second day of proceedings and is about to begin its third day. According to sources within the system, the first 2 days of the fourth plenary session were largely devoted to routine deliberations on matters such as the 15th five-year plan, with substantive personnel issues typically not taking center stage until the third day. The earlier sessions were essentially a warm-up. Today's biggest focal point, of course, is the most sensitive personnel change, Wang. There are now reports circulating that Wang has been nominated to be appointed as a Central Committee member. Is this claim credible, and does it align with the procedural norms of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP? When the Ministry of National Defense announced the blockbuster case involving the purge of 9 senior generals, we already witnessed a stark confrontation and subtle power struggle between the Central Propaganda Department and the military. From yesterday to today, we have seen another intriguing development. A clear divergence in tone between Xinhua News Agency and People's Daily, with even Xinhua's own articles showing significant inconsistencies. Today is October 21st in Eastern Time, and I am Tang Jingyuan. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Let's analyze this major drama together from an objective perspective. Yesterday, we discussed with you the legitimate pathways for Wang to ascend to a leadership position. Surprisingly, today we received news through certain channels about a major change in Wang Yang's personnel status. This information comes from overseas self-media personality Xiao Wan, who, in his program, claimed to have received insider information that the military has proposed a motion to appoint Wang as a Central Committee member. If this news is true, it can undoubtedly be described as earth-shattering, as it would inevitably mean that Xi Jinping would have to relinquish power, whether willingly or not. This raises a critical question. Does this claim align with the CCP's political regulations and procedures? To address this, we first need to clarify one issue. Does the party constitution allow a retired ordinary party member to be directly elevated to Central Committee membership? According to Article 22 of the Constitution of the Communist Party of China, revised in 2022, the Central Committee is elected by the National Congress. During the period when the National Congress is not in session, if there is a vacancy in the Central Committee, the Central Committee's plenary session shall fill the vacancy by promoting alternate members of the Central Committee in order of votes received. If it is necessary to elect additional Central Committee members, the decision shall be made by the Central Committee's plenary session. Note that this outlines 2 scenarios. One is promotion, where alternate members are elevated to full Central Committee members based on their vote totals. This is the standard procedure. The other is appointment, where an individual is additionally elected to the Central Committee, which is an exceptional case. The so-called appointment mechanism allows, under special needs, the direct election of an individual to the Central Committee, even if they were not previously an alternate member. However, such appointments are extremely rare in history and almost always tied to major political events or personnel changes, such as coups, political purges, elder interventions, or succession arrangements. For Wang only the appointment mechanism would apply, as this fourth plenary session seems to encompass all these major factors. From the party constitution, we can see that the authority to appoint Central Committee members lies with the Central Committee's plenary session, i.e., the plenary session. Thus, the fourth plenary session does have a legitimate mechanism to appoint Wang as a Central Committee member, which is an indispensable first step for him to potentially become General Secretary or Acting General Secretary. Procedurally, he must first become a Central Committee member before advancing to the Standing Committee and succeeding Xi Jinping. We discussed this step in yesterday's interactive session, and unexpectedly, this rumor emerged today. So, does the claim that military representatives nominated Wang and secured his appointment as a Central Committee member hold water? Based on my understanding and analysis, it likely does not. According to regulations, such an appointment is an extraordinary measure and can only be proposed by the Politburo or the Central Organization Department, then submitted to the plenary session for a vote. In other words, the authority to nominate an ordinary party member to leap directly to Central Committee membership does not lie with a single system, such as the military delegation. Therefore, even if this news is true, it may have been distorted in transmission. The actual meaning might be that the military strongly endorsed this motion, setting a precedent. The military, holding the barrel of the gun, has spoken, signaling to the knife handles, pen holders, money bags, and other factions to quickly fall in line and support it. This could be the origin of the so-called claim that the military is backing Wang. From this, we can see the Shi Taifeng of the Huwen faction, who unexpectedly swapped roles with Xi's ally Li Ganjie to take charge of the Central Organization Department, may now play a pivotal role. He is likely to be instructed to propose such a motion. Is there precedent in CCP history for an ordinary party member being appointed to the Central Committee through this mechanism? The answer is yes, and there are multiple examples. For instance, in July 1977, Zhao Zhang, then first secretary of the Sichuan Provincial Party Committee, not a Central Committee member, was specially appointed as an alternate Central Committee member during a Central Work Conference before the 11th National Congress, aiding in its preparations. This is one precedent of a non-Central Committee member being specially appointed to the Central Committee. Another well-known example is the fifth plenary session of the 7th Central Committee in 1955, when Chen Yun and Deng Xiaoping, previously sidelined or suspended, were reinstated to the Politburo and simultaneously appointed as Central Committee members. Deng Xiaoping later staged another comeback in 1977. Strictly speaking, these cases involved reinstatement, as they were already Central Committee members before being sidelined due to political campaigns and later restored to their positions. In comparison, Wang Yang's situation is similar. He is a former Politburo Standing Committee member, now retired, not a current Central Committee member, and holds no active party or government position. However, unlike Zhao Zhang, Deng Xiaoping, or Chen Yun, who were not retired at the time, Wang Yang is. Although Deng Xiaoping and Chen Yun were without positions at the time, they had not retired. In CCP history, there is no precedent for a retired former Standing Committee member without any position being reinstated to the Central Committee. This is the biggest difference between Wang Yang and these cases. However, Wang Yang's retirement is somewhat unique, as it has been criticized as the result of a bloodless coup by Xi Jinping. Originally, Wang Yang had not reached retirement age at the 20th National Congress and, per party norms, should have remained a Standing Committee member for another term. However, Xi Jinping, leveraging his control over the military, launched a surprise attack at the Congress, altering the candidate list, forcing Wang Yang and Li Keqiang to step down. This was also the trigger for Hu Jintao's insistence on reviewing the list at the Congress, which was blocked by Li Jianshu, ultimately leading to Hu Jintao being forcibly escorted out. Thus, for Wang Yang, this is almost a repeat of Deng Xiaoping's wrongful sidelining and subsequent reinstatement to correct past injustices. Looking at these historical cases, we can identify common characteristics. 1. They occurred during periods of power vacuums or severe political crises at the top. 2. They were directly decided by the de facto power holders at the time, Mao Zedong, Hua Guofeng. And 3. They were confirmed through special resolutions at the Central Committee's plenary sessions, rather than nominations from lower-level systems. These conditions are all present today. Therefore, from a procedural perspective, it is not far-fetched for Wang Yang to be reappointed as a Central Committee member through a special resolution at the 4th plenary session. However, this assumes that the elders and the military have full control of the proceedings. Even if it's a formality, a vote by all members is required, and if the vote fails, the elders would be in a very awkward position. In such a case, they would have to resort to the military's hard power to force the outcome, undermining procedural legitimacy. As I previously shared, the elders have already conducted one-on-one communications with Central Committee members in advance to ensure no embarrassing situations arise. Among the Central Committee members loyal to Xi Jinping, how many would truly risk everything to defend him? I believe you could count them on one hand. Most of these seasoned officials are opportunists who follow the prevailing wind. The key is for the elders and the military to demonstrate sufficient strength to make it clear who is in charge. The military's decision to simultaneously announce the purge of 9 senior generals, rather than adopting a gradual, stabilizing approach, was primarily aimed at showcasing its strength to ensure the several hundred Central Committee members align correctly. Regarding this sudden revelation, we cannot confirm its authenticity, as all Central Committee members are currently gathered at the Jingxi Hotel for closed-door meetings, with communication devices likely under strict control. How such information could leak out is unclear. We can only say that, procedurally, the claim is plausible. In the context of a massive power transition, Wang Yang's retired status poses little substantive obstacle. A hallmark of CCP rules is that they bind others, but those wielding supreme power are rarely constrained by them, enjoying vast flexibility to circumvent or amend rules. From this perspective, I believe this news is more likely a planned move by the elders rather than something that has already occurred. Whether the plan will be executed smoothly will soon become clear. On the topic of leaks, let me share an interesting piece of information. Through an indirect channel, not directly, but via a friend, I heard that on the first day of the 4th plenary session, 7 core members of Xi Jinping's faction, including 4 standing committee members, Li Chang, Kai Chi, Wang Huning, and Li Shi, and 3 Politburo members, Huang Kunming, Ma Xingrui, and Li Ganjie, all submitted their resignations. This is intriguing because as early as October 19th, an overseas self-media channel reported the same list. However, my information indeed came from mainland sources. It appears to come from different channels, though it's possible it's the same source, circulated through a cycle of export, re-import, and re-export. Don't laugh. This kind of information loop often occurs during major CCP crises or rare events, where overseas sources think it's from within China, and those in China think it's from abroad, each assuming the other's information is more authoritative. This is a hallmark of the CCP's black box politics. While I'm sharing this claim, I must caution you to take it with a grain of salt. Since this rumor was circulating before the 4th plenary session officially began, even if true, it is undoubtedly a plan or expectation. Whether it will materialize during the actual meeting is another matter. From another angle, even if this 7-person list is fabricated, it's likely not far from the eventual outcome. If Wang Yang and others are to rise, the positions of these 4 standing committee members, Premier, First Secretary of the Secretariat, Head of the Central Disciplinary Commission, and Chairman of the Political Consultative Conference, are almost certainly up for grabs, as they are critical roles. Ma Xingrui and Li Ganjie have already been marginalized, with recurring rumors of investigations, so it's reasonable for them to resign proactively for self-preservation. Huang Kunming has mismanaged Guangdong, China's economic powerhouse, rivaling Xi Jinping's own record. If Wang Yang and Hu Jintao's faction take power, replacing Guangdong's leadership is an obvious and imminent move. Thus, while the leak may not be true, the political logic behind it holds water. With some time left, let's discuss the sudden shift in party media, another highlight of this drama. On October 20th at 2 p.m. Beijing time, party media coverage of the 4th plenary session's opening was extremely low-key, with just over 100 words stating that Xi Jinping delivered a work report, without even a basic accompanying image. Yet, hours before the meeting began, Xinhua published an article at midnight, unusually high-profile, lavishly praising Xi Jinping's leadership during the 14th five-year plan period, claiming new pioneering progress, breakthrough changes, and historic achievements in China's socioeconomic development. The article mentioned Xi Jinping 23 times, evoking the tone of 2 years ago when she was portrayed as the unchallenged supreme leader. On the same day, however, People's Daily published a lengthy commentary under the pseudonym Ren Zhongping, titled What China Did Right in Leading the Future. Its tone was markedly different. While it mentioned Xi Jinping several times, these were clearly perfunctory, formulaic references. The article focused more on pragmatic themes like technology, people's livelihoods, reform, and grassroots governance, while avoiding mention of the 2442 issue. As we know, Run Zhongping is a homophonic pseudonym for People's Daily's major commentaries, used as a bellwether for the party's political tone. Comparing these two flagship party media articles, one effusively flattering, the other formulaic and reserved, the difference isn't merely a matter of writing style, but reflects two distinct voices within the Central Propaganda Department. Perhaps, while party media is accustomed to following orders to manipulate public perception, this time, as the meeting began, they suddenly realized that the party's top echelons are not speaking with one voice. Let's keep watching the drama unfold.